So before we start talking about the movie, though, Devin, hit us with some facts and information.
Yup. This is directed by Steve Odekirk. That's that dude. You like that movie he did?
Yes, I was going to mention that.
The stars Martin Lawrence, Tim Robbins, Giancarlo Esposito, John C. McKinley, Kelly Preston. Steve Odekirk also plays that security guard in the movie. Literally could find nothing on this movie, like no information on this movie.
Yeah.
The only thing is really when I was doing the research, I went back and watched, but there is a post-credit scene, which for that time that's not a thing that was really a thing.
So for those of you who may not be familiar, Steve Odekirk is the man behind Kung Pao. Nothing to Lose. I'm not gonna go through the whole movie, but I'm gonna kind of set the stage for the plot here, right? So you got Tim Robbins' character. His name is Nick. It opens up with you thinking he's breaking up with his wife or girlfriend or whatever, but really it's just him and his wife. They have some weird game they play where they act like they're saying horrible things. Yeah,
You're a fat idiot.
I gotcha.
Then you get introduced to Nick's company. He works for a company, but like they're a company that I think they're a marketing company or something. So Nick's wife calls. She wants to go on a date night and everything. She mentions that her sister is going to be in town with his fiance. I'm going to go surprise my wife. I'm going to go home early, surprise my wife. So he gets some flowers, goes in the house. He hears a noise. He thinks somebody's broken in his house. So he starts grabbing some weapons, goes upstairs, opens his bedroom door, and finds his wife getting banged by another guy. So he goes back downstairs. He doesn't react. He doesn't let them know that he was there. He goes back downstairs and he finds his boss's cufflinks on the counter. And I'm assuming this is why the movie's called Nothing to Lose. He kind of goes a little crazy, not too bad. He starts driving into like a really dangerous neighborhood and driving really recklessly. And that's when Martin Lawrence's character shows up. His name is Terrence, tries to carjack him, has a revolver to his face. And Nick's like, you picked the wrong guy to do this to, or you picked the wrong day or something like that. So he slams on the gas and starts driving crazy all through town. And basically he sort of kidnaps his own carjacker in a way. He ends up driving all the way to Arizona. These two guys have this they start to develop a little bit of a bond and relationship throughout the movie. But basically Nick decides he wants to rob his boss for revenge because his boss has a safe with a bunch of money in his office, and Nick decides he wants to rob him. So he teams up with Terrence, played by Martin Lawrence, to try to scheme on how to rob his boss and get this money from his boss. Meanwhile, there's two criminals that have escaped from jail, played by John C. McKinley and Giancarlo Esposito. They've got these other two criminals that have escaped from prison that are kind of chasing after them too, and they have a lot of run-ins with them.
Yeah, the one I only laughed at one scene. It was when he was getting caught when he tries to rob Tim Robbins. He does a Helen Keller impression.
Does he?
Yeah, dude. He goes, "What do you think? I'm Helen Keller or something?" And then I'm not gonna do the voice because I'm not gonna get canceled. But he does a Helen Keller impression.
Helen Keller, I'm talking to you. Can you hear what the fuck I'm saying?
Dude, you remember that time I was talking to you about Helen Keller and you said something along the lines like that was the girl that like hid from the Nazis, right? You thought Anne Frank was Helen Keller.
I did. That did.
That's not good, Matt. That's not good.
Yeah, that did happen. So they go to a gas station and Nick's just pumping gas, and Terrence goes into the gas station and just freaking robs the gas station attendee. And then the gas station attendee comes out with a shotgun and starts shooting at him. And it's just like hillbilly redneck.
Money in the bag. Put the money in the f***ing bag. Oh, great. Buford's come to kill us.
Let me ask you this. What did you think about John C. McKinley and Gustavo Fring's characters?
They were just kind of bad guys, I guess. They were pretty much the same duo.
Yeah.
They was trying to play off that because the cops are looking for a duo that looks just like the actual bad guys.
Right.
But I don't know. I didn't really think much of them. Thought they were kind of bland.
Yeah, it seems to me like they were just kind of thrown in because the movie didn't really have a villain.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the boss was kind of the villain in a way, but not really. There's a scene where they're driving, Nick and Terrence are driving, and there's a spider on Nick's face, and Terrence is like, dude, there's a spider on your head. And he's like, okay, very funny. And he's like, no, there's a big ass spider on your head.
Yeah, this is one of my problems with the movie. It uses a lot of reused jokes that are used in a lot of movies. Like, oh, there's a spider on you. Oh, you're on fire. No, I'm not on fire. No, you're on fire. Like, it's a lot of reused jokes that are in all kinds of comedies that I'm like burnt out on those kind of jokes now at this point, especially spiders being on people. Yeah. That's such an overused joke in comedies.
It is. It definitely is.
What's that supposed to mean? There's a spider on your head.
It means there's a spider on your head, man.
Well, get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
I ain't touching that shit.
Also, I don't think Tim Robbins is funny.
No, he's not really.
I don't think he's got comedy to him. At least I didn't feel it here.
Earlier, he spilled a bunch of gas on his shoes, so his shoes were soaked in gas, and he steps on like a book of matches and lights them, and so his feet light on fire, and he's doing this.
Yeah, dude, and it plays that iconic 90s hit, the Scatman song or whatever.
It does. It plays the Scatman
This movie
song.
does that too. It like tries to use music to be funny at a lot of points, like all throughout the movie.
You know, because the movie starts off portraying Terrence as this like criminal that's just constantly wanting to like rob people and stuff like that. But eventually you find out there's a lot more to him than meets the eye. He's got a family. He lives with his mom, his wife, and he's got 2 kids, a son and a daughter. And he actually went to school for engineering and got like an engineering certificate or degree or something like that. But he just couldn't get a job. And it's insinuated that he couldn't get a job because he was black. And because of that, because he couldn't get this job and he has his family to support, that's why he was kind of doing these crimes to try to get money. And I kind of like that because the people that commit crimes, they're not necessarily horrible human beings. Some people commit crimes because they feel desperate, like they don't have any other choice. Yeah. So I like that the movie kind of portrayed that a little bit. Steve Odekirk, of course, you know, put himself in the movie. He's like this really goofy ass security guard.
It's weird.
That's like, you know, spinning his flashlight around like it's a gun, and then he goes into the boss's office while Nick and Terrence are hiding because they're trying to rob the place, and he stays in there for like 2 hours dancing and singing along to music. It's not terrible, right? It's an okay movie. You know, I didn't hate it. You know, I wasn't bored watching it. I was entertained at various points of the movie, but it just wasn't funny enough.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I think it's just one of those buddy road movies that I just didn't find it funny. A lot of reused jokes. Yeah. I didn't think Tim Robbins and Martin Lawrence had like amazing chemistry. I don't find Tim Robbins very funny.
Yeah, their chemistry.
I get why he's in this movie though, because this was the 90s and Tim Robbins was popping in the 90s. Huge in the 90s, probably one of the most sought after actors. Yep. And you know, Martin Lawrence, this was right after Martin, so you know he's super big and hot at the time. So yeah, I get why they put these two in a movie together though.
It has some cool qualities to it, like I mentioned, and a few scenes that were kind of funny and clever, but wasn't enough to make it, you know, like up there.
Yeah.
So that is it for tonight's episode of VHS Voyage on Nothing to Lose. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
And we'll catch you guys next week.